Here to help with our investigation, still with us, Brian Silver and Michael Gottlieb. Michael, is this one easier?
It's a very different case. So in Casey Anthony, she lied over and over and over again. But the medical examiner couldn't put a date or a time on the death. And there was virtually no direct evidence. There was some circumstantial evidence.
There was duct tape on a dead baby. There was duct tape on a dead baby.
Right, but duct tape doesn't tell you who put it there. There was no...
Right, but they said it was an accident.
There was no fingerprint.
The defense said exactly what happened. Like, they said that it was an accidental drowning.
The jury might not buy that, but they still have to believe beyond a reasonable doubt that Casey Anthony was guilty of murdering her old child, and the state didn't have that evidence there. The child was dead. It was a horrific scene. The entire state, the entire country was talking about it. She was guilty in the court of public opinion. But jurors take an oath, and they follow that oath. And that oath is to hold the state to a burden of proving their case beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. And there was reasonable doubt in that case that she was the party that was guilty of murdering her own child. So I think this case is much harder because if Tenon sticks to his guns, to his original statement, you've got a guy who says, I was there, who says he killed, who talks about the motive, talks about the plan, talks about the relationship. So I think Tenon is a much more difficult defense case.
Brian, what do you think? Is this case easier or more difficult?
I got to take Mr. Gottlieb's side on this one, Vinny. I got to tell you, the thing with Casey Anthony is as follows, all right? The duct tape, you're right, it's glaring evidence, and it's something that resonates with homicide. But the truth is, it's also used to dispose of bodies. It doesn't speak to the cause of death. All it speaks to is someone is trying to hide something. But the big question is, what are they trying to hide? Are they trying to hide child neglect that resulted in a death? Or are they trying to hide a premeditated murder? Those are two very different things, and that was the big question. And here's the ultimate issue. But she was found not
guilty of all of them.
I understand that, and that was the right verdict because the prosecution had a lack of evidence. The medical examiner couldn't even tell that jury how the baby died. And by the way, let's not mistake the horror of that case with the verdict. Okay, when prosecutors ask for a murder conviction and the death penalty, it's the ultimate ask. Okay, they're asking for the biggest thing possible.
A lot of lesser included there, though. There was a whole list of lesser includeds that the jury could have landed on.
Yes, but they couldn't. This is the problem. Even the lesser includeds are some very serious offenses. And before a jury's going to feel comfortable sending someone to a cage for the rest of their life or to go get a needle in their arm, the prosecution has to live up to their case.
I have another question.
They gotta pay with evidence.
Yeah. All right. Michael Gottlieb, is this case easier than the Aaron Hernandez case? He was representing a convicted murderer in another murder case.
Yeah. So, that one's difficult. You had individuals who testified against Hernandez, but they were gang types, not really credible, not really believable. Hernandez had this thing about him, you were drawn to him. I still think that this one is more difficult.
More difficult?
Given, yeah, it's a more difficult case to defend than Hernandez.
All right, Michael Gottlieb, Brian Silver, two great attorneys down in Florida. They know those juries down there. Thank you so much.